We are live. This is the market update. If you watch this video, we are going to cover, can Ethereum and altcoins come back, even if Bitcoin, for lack of a better term, stinks? We will answer a very important question. Are you tired of winning yet? Did you get what you voted for? Do you have an alternative? Perhaps sovereignty, independence, privacy is the way to go. And wait, will you get the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve? Remember that? Like, oh, the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Okay. Crypto week is July 14th. What do you think we're going to get? Think we're going to get the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve? We're going to get the Sovereign Wealth Fund? What exactly are we going to get? And what are the scenarios on the charts? So if we get nothing, will Bitcoin correct? If we get exactly what we want, how high can Bitcoin go? Or will it be Ethereum and alts? And don't forget, there's also tariffs. There's XRP news with MasterCard. And as you undoubtedly know, there is what they call in business school the politics of the situation. Is MAGA dead? Is it dead? And what does that mean for our bond market? What does that mean for the crypto market? Crypto was born out of failure. The failure was in 2008 in our financial system. That's when the Bitcoin white paper was released by a guy named Satoshi Nakamoto, or an intelligence service that was worried that if this ever happened again, we would need some form of new money. And here we are. Here we are, right? Like $365 billion added to the debt today, I believe. Today. Big, beautiful bill, not looking so beautiful if you've got Elon on the tape every single day. And again, back to the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, because we're going to go over these files and we're going to go over what that means in the context of crypto. You know, is the orange man done? Did he come in and you know, keep all the promises he made to the people who helped him get elected, which also allowed him to not go to jail or pay that $400 million judgment in New York? Could that have been what this is all about from the beginning? Right? Make the special interests happy, rug everyone else, and not go to jail. And then have the special interest and their intelligence service, wink, protect your family. Versus going after your family if you don't do what they say. Did we all just get rugged? And if we did, what's on the charts and how do you trade it and how do you invest? And is it Ethereum, Bitcoin, altcoins? What is it? And this also brings up the fact of the fate of the American-made cryptos. Because one thing you may get is you may get like transaction tax relief. Like, for example, if you've owned XRP for 10 years, and you want to buy something with it, you can do so without paying some capital gains tax. In other words, you can use it like money, like the Swiss franc or the euro. That would make sense for crypto week. But I mean, you're going to get a legalization of all of crypto. You're going to get no CBDC. And you may get made in the USA crypto tax exemption. Maybe. Are you going to get the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve? Are you going to get the Sovereign Wealth Fund? Like, what happens if crypto week comes and goes and you get half of what you asked for? Everybody wants to get the crypto bro vogue. Everybody looking, nobody putting down what we really need. And you know what? I'm going to be straight up honest with you. This is the greatest thing that ever happened to crypto. Because I remember when AIntivirus came out, that's the John McAfee AI agent revival coin. So super libertarian, right? That came out on the heels of the Trump meme coin. And part of me looked at the whole Trump situation with that, all the patriotism and all the Make America Great Again stuff. I was like, oh God, what am I going to do with like this libertarian, like fight against the man, like don't trust anybody, don't trust Uncle Sugar. Well, 6 months later, how are we looking now? Huh? How are we looking now? We got Zoran in New York, right? His money is his money. Your money is his money. Whammy. And then you have governments running up deficits, not telling the truth. They're acting like governments. And that's the most bullish thing ever for crypto. Like people may go, oh, I'm disappointed. And then they might go, wait a minute, why are we selling? Or they may be disappointed in Bitcoin and everything else. We're like, oh, wow, alts didn't go down. Alts didn't go down. What happens if the disappointment trade, if any, is in Bitcoin? What happens if Wall Street is short the dollar and long Bitcoin and they get squeezed on both trades? Could there be a Bitcoin dip? I mean, I don't know. Bitcoin could go straight to 114 for all I know. But the thing is, what are you going to do? Okay. What are you going to do if you don't get what you want? Because again, the orange man is launching funds and ETFs. He's launching all this stuff. So it would be in his interest to do the Bitcoin strategic reserve and not get too bearish, not get too upset, because politics will make you emotional and it will cloud your judgment. But not a good day for anybody supporting the orange man. And again, people's tolerance for getting rugged on the Bitcoin strategic reserve is not going to be there. It isn't. And there's a part of me that feels like if that was actually going to happen, the market would be off to the races already. In other words, I think if the Bitcoin strategic reserve and the sovereign wealth fund is going to buy Bitcoin, that the market would start moving in advance of that. Because how could that possibly be kept a secret? That World Liberty would know. Trump kids would know. They'd be tweeting out in advance. So we'll see next week. We'll see. Okay. That's the monologue. If you like the monologue at the start, that's my Nick imitation. If you like the monologue at the start, please feel free to let me know in the chat and in the comments. Okay. It's going to be a big show. Big show. So welcome. Who's here? We got Bull Runner, Thomas Chai. Welcome. Sephro, Kamania, a member. Thank you. GF, Haven Peck, Brandon. What's up? Huckleberry Native, a member for 6 months. Gian, holy schmoly. Huckleberry Native in original. Lee J. Your Bass Hurts. R&R. What's up? Tyler from the AIntivirus Samurai. Welcome. Good evening from Southern California. JB, Routine Cheese. Forget about it. Tussle. TC Crypto, a longtime member. Killacav. Daniel J. Driftless Crypto. Welcome. Tired of the man? Tired of special interests? Tired of hedge funds? Tired of broken promises? Want to hack the system? Got this beautiful guide with a great story, beautiful paper, Digital Dominion. If you're sick of the man, I got something for you. I got a crypto AI themed book. Call it Cyber Noir. So if you don't know as much as you want to know about AI and crypto and you want to be entertained and you're sick of the man, check it out. The link to the website is in the description where you can get the book. The website's cool AF. You'll love it. Not to mention you'll be supporting Toby Ward, who hasn't been wrong about anything ever when it comes to crypto. She's in our YouTube member area. She has many talents. You think the book's good? There's more books, and wait till the painting starts. If you're in the YouTube member area, you know that we got the best art in YouTube for our member stream. Okay. So, Andrew Tate, nobodies don't understand that they don't matter and they never will. Elites don't care about you or your quest for justice or entertainment. You're a nobody. It's a big club, and you're not in it. You know, you say what you want about this guy, but he pretty much just told you that the way to be somebody and the way to tell these characters where to go stick whatever stuff that they're selling you, right? Like the red watch, the gold sneakers, the trading cards, the NFTs, right? They didn't just sell you the idea. They sold you a whole bunch of merch. The cologne. It's a big club and you ain't in it, says George Carlin, a comedian from the 90s. Now, coming off the screen share so as not to, don't put anything naughty out there, but there's a very important point to be made that the American right has completely dropped the orange man. Unless there's some strategy here that we don't know about, that these files that got closed will be somehow leaked out later. The American right has walked away. One guy saying MAGA's dead. You know, even the guys who you would think would never jump ship, like, Alex Jones or Glenn Beck, they're done. Alex Jones was crying in his car. Crying. Trust me, Alex Jones, not the kind of guy who cries. Crying in his car over what's transpired. Over, frankly, an issue which is unfortunate because there are victims who won't get justice. But, in the larger spectrum of, the United States, world affairs, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate law enforcement issue. But it's become an issue about confidence in sovereigns. And by the way, just in case you think the left is gone, 77% of adults say they aren't completely financially secure. And these people kind of just lost their hero. Okay? So what can this do to consumer sentiment? I don't know. What happens when everyone wakes up and figures out that, hey, I got to get outside the system? Look at this. You want to see the case for crypto? You want to see the one slide market update? New York Times. No, you don't actually have a right to a bank account. These are the people who come in power if Elon splits the vote. Right? It's like, if that doesn't tell you that, it's time. Remember, it's Americans who pay the cost of tariffs. That's why all the U.S. trading partners are fighting so hard against tariffs. They don't want their customers, which is us, to experience undue stress. Funny, huh? Global stock markets are calling Trump's, bluff. Markets don't care. Now, crypto does, because tariff talk is generally not good for crypto based on a 2017 study. So as soon as they start, it's not good. But altcoins do have a bid. So it's interesting, right? Bitcoin is at resistance. Bitcoin is a consensus trade. And I'm not sure that, what's going on the tape is it's great for Bitcoin conceptually, but what are they going to do if they don't get the strategic reserve? Like if that crypto weekend is a disappointment, because, these files and whatnot, that doesn't have anything to do with us, but it does if they're, it's like, hey, we're going to have a big July. We're going to rug everybody. Wow. Okay. Bessent says $2.83 trillion in tariff revenue over 10 years. Nothing like good old-fashioned government forecasts of what we're going to make or save, because they're always accurate, right? Why do you think this guy wants stable coins? Because he wants to be able to print, because they will print. And that brings you to Ethereum and Solana, right? The stable coins, the massive proliferation of this stuff that's coming, right? In other words, I'm like, well, okay, Bitcoin's great. And, this is the case for Bitcoin. And you've heard all this a million times. But, what about what's underneath Bitcoin? The national debt is double what people think. We know. And so it begins. Debt jumps $366 billion in one day. Crypto is way off its highs. It's insane. Grifters running out of things to grift on. Uh-oh. Orange Man actually walking around wearing his merch. Orange Man making bank on crypto. Do voters care? You know what? They will if they don't get the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve or something where the government does something other than say we won't do a CBDC, which doesn't matter. By the way, let me come off the screen share. So they'll pass a law that says we won't do a CBDC. But what you don't realize is USDC, for all intents and purposes, is a CBDC. They can track it. They can see what you're doing. What, are you kidding me? Yeah, okay, maybe they can't go in and take it like they could as CBDC, but that doesn't mean they can't monitor everything you do. Seriously. So they're going to say, well, we won't make a CBDC, even though we have one already. They'll make crypto legal, which it kind of already is. They might change the tax treatment, but are they going to buy it? Remember that whole government's going to moon our bags thing? I mean, that was like, I really thought that they were going to have an American-made crypto strategic reserve because the line was we needed to grow our way out of the debt, right? This was Kennedy's line. You needed AI and crypto to be explosive American industries. So with altcoins, if you get favorable tax treatment, like you can buy stuff with Ethereum or buy stuff with Solana or buy stuff with the American-made cryptos, hey now, that's a big altcoin catalyst, right? Like I still think people are absolutely sleeping on Solana, right? So if there's a rug on the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, but there's favorable tax treatment for Solana, Bitcoin, as much as we love it, is at resistance. Could the rebellion against the system be done on Ethereum and Solana? Is anyone talking about that? First of all, I don't think anybody's talking about rebelling against the system. They're too busy being upset. But is anyone thinking about pushing back, right? Anybody pushing back through altcoins? Stefan Wilhelm is checking in from his flight. Sir, we appreciate that. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Extreme dollar hate, extreme stock greed, and zero fear. That's an interesting headline, don't you think? So they're overly short the dollar. Everybody short the dollar in legacy, and that is the recipe for some kind of trading bounce. The only way to lower the value of the dollar is through crypto, and most people think it's Bitcoin, and it could be, of course. Bitcoin can just take off and go right to 114, or if you look at what the Gann model said in Patreon Platinum, oh my God. I was like, are you sure you want to say that about July 8th and 9th? I really hope that doesn't happen. There could be a geopolitical event. Why are Middle Eastern leaders meeting at the White House for the third time? I thought we were done with all that. In-person meeting. What are they talking about? That they couldn't do on Zoom. Traders are the most bearish on the US dollar at least in 3 years. It would be kind of funny if there was a geopolitical event which kind of creates bid for the dollar as a safe haven. One guy is actually out there predicting that there's going to be some kind of false flag event. I don't know about that. I don't know. I kind of hope not. My friends were in the trade center when that went down. So hopefully that's not an issue. But if the dollar is going lower, it's not going to be versus other fiat currencies. And laughably, the dollar may be bottoming temporarily because Warren Buffett just says, fiscal policy scares me. The nature of government is to make the currency worthless over time, which is funny because he owns, like, I don't know, some notable chunk of the Treasury bill market. He's sitting in dollars. I mean, he could be the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Can you imagine if this guy came out and was like, you know what, I'm doing crypto? And the other guy who should come out and do crypto, frankly, is Musk. It's Musk. Everybody talking the talk. He could buy it with his own money. Move over. Big, beautiful bill. Crypto week is coming. Yep. Now, what is happening in crypto, and these guys must watch the show, and this trade is for real, right? AI giant CoreWeave buys Bitcoin miner. So Bitcoin miners are having trouble, some of the smaller ones, because of the halving. And guess what? AI, Web 2, I would imagine Galaxy Digital, Wall Street. Well, Galaxy Digital sold Bitcoin mining for AI. That's interesting. I understand why they had to do that to get their IPO going. Mergers and acquisition in crypto is going to be unbelievable. Ripple, they will never let Ripple go public. Ripple comes out with anything, and they go public. There's no chance of anybody buying them. Somebody's got to take them over. It's going to happen. I mean, it's very logical that somebody would come in, particularly since they're centralized, and I've talked about this, right? M&A in crypto is very stimulating, just like it is in equities. Right? Everyone is going to start the takeover game, and Metaplanet wants to use Bitcoin to start taking over other companies. So rather than Metaplanet having to go out and buy more Bitcoin, they may actually go out and start taking over companies. Use the Bitcoin as collateral to take over. Okay, what is really up with all the positive ETH news? What is the no tax on American crypto? All right. So let's dig up the ETH news. Really, the ETH news is that, it's becoming obvious that Ethereum Central is serious about making the network go faster and not have these insane gas fees when the market gets busy. That's the problem with Ethereum. You want to trade, you want to do stuff, you can't do it because you got to pay $300 to do a trade. So, Vitalik is talking about capping that. Plus, Ethereum is acting like a company. And I know Vitalik hates this, right? He wants to just put a network out there and just be a computer guy who manages the network. He doesn't want to be a CEO. Okay? He doesn't want to be a CEO. He doesn't. But they're turning that around. And the stablecoin network, the stablecoin trade has not been done. It's been done in Circle and Coinbase stock. Everybody is forgetting about what's going to happen when they start pouring in here. And they will start pouring in here because there's a limit to the dollar down trade from a technical analysis pool as of from a technical analysis point of view as of now. So Stefan is saying, so Bill, do we see a new high for Bitcoin? What are alts doing, or only the memes are moving? All right. Good question. Okay, I'm not sharing. That's good. Okay, so we have serious question. When are we going to the moon? All right. The question is, the answer to that from the YouTube member area is after we get done wobbling. That's what Toby says. How long we wobble, you have to go listen to the podcast for that. The real answer is after they shake everyone out, after they bore everyone out. Like if there's a geopolitical event or a disappointment trade around crypto week, they may have to flush people out. They might. Okay. Now, someone's asking about a new high for Bitcoin. I can't believe there's not going to be a new high for Bitcoin, by the end of the summer, somewhere around there. I mean, again, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because like in 2017, that's when it got really hot. It got hot August, September. Right? But Bitcoin may have to correct first. Maybe. I can't see alts correcting. I can't see alts correcting a lot. I can see like a flash dip and then coming back. Because again, Ethereum and Solana, like, how is that not the new dollar trade? How is it not? Right? And I think somebody's asking about the positive ETH news. This thing about the transaction and the gas is the positive ETH move. The other piece of news is what happened when Robinhood came on to Arbitrum, which has been totally ignored. Totally ignored. Right? What happens when, I'll tell you right now, like our GAN model for Patreon Platinum cannot stop talking about Uniswap. So when are we going to the moon? Christmas. Like, I really do think that that's going to be it. It's going to take, it may take the market that long to go on a massive parabolic as we sit here and watch them just totally embarrass themselves. Now, Stefan is saying, what is with no tax on American crypto? Okay, so to clarify, one of the things that the Orange Man and Kennedy talked about was just like if you had crypto and you do a transaction, like if you bought an NFT with ETH, you would not have to pay a capital gain on, you know, the ETH that you spent on the NFT. You could just use it like money. Like you don't pay a tax on the dollar at the grocery store. You just pay the price of the groceries. They want to take these American cryptos and incentivize people to use them, or that was the talk. And that actually might happen. And if it does, oh my God, Solana, Cardano, XRP. In other words, honestly, going into crypto week, I'm more excited about what alts could do than what crypto could, than what Bitcoin could do. I mean, Bitcoin's eventually going to go up. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, it seems easier for them to do something on the tax front when it comes to altcoins. Okay, so we have a Dogecoin. Let's see what we got. Flipping the Dow Jones. A new index for the people. I'm cool with that. It's got a $15 million market cap. All right, so a word about how these coins go, generally speaking. There's always an initial run-up. I'm not familiar with the details of this project. There's an initial run-up. Then they buy it at the 38% retracement. This case, it was actually 62. They try to make a new high, and then it comes off. Right? Everyone FOMOs in at 15 to 20 million, and then it pauses. However, again, we don't have specific meme coins that we've looked at, but if people are bored, which I'm sure they are at this point, I absolutely don't blame people. Wow, it's a very small number of followers, and I get it. DJI 6930 is the SPX 6900. Okay. I don't mind taking a shot. Sure. Just remember, SPX 6900 now has hedge funds and algorithms and centralized exchanges that help pump it. But if equities continue to make a new high, why not? I'm all about shooting your shot. Shooting your shot. Okay, XRP futures continue to explode. This is the telltale sign that the good news about crypto week is it's altcoins. The Orange Man owns ETH. It's in his interest to moon it. Because as Toby told us, nothing happens that's not in his interest. She said that way back. Like, you know, he cares about what he wants to care about, not what you want to care about. And man, if you want to read some good science fiction about it, you know what to do. The link is in the description down below. Ripple's MasterCard calls it an XRP a bridge. And there you have your bid for Ripple. Because that's the other thing that could happen, right? Somebody comes in and announces a takeover during crypto week. Wowza. That'll get all coins going. You know what I'm saying? That'll put a little lead in your pencil. Garlinghouse at a hearing tomorrow. Let me introduce you to the 55 million Americans that use crypto. Okay, so everyone's going to go testify about crypto. Most likely everyone's going to say nice things, of course, except for the left, which should make you want it more. We need an outside catalyst for altcoins. We could get one, and I hope we get one before we get anything potentially negative. I don't want any negative stuff. I don't. Right? If the dip yesterday was the dip, or if there's a dip the next 2 days and it isn't much of a dip, awesome. Great. But the real power of the next move, I don't know, man. It's got to be ETH, Solana, and XRP. It's got to be. I don't even want to think about it if it isn't. I really don't. Bitcoin traders chasing 130. Okay. Strategy, getting bigger, issuing paper, right? BlackRock getting bigger. Tired of winning? This kind of kid tells it like it is. It's the biggest advertisement for crypto that there is. This guy right here. And Jones is right behind him. All right. 2,500 as one of the strongest accumulation zones in months. I mean, in the history of ETH, when ETH goes, it is freaking spectacular when it goes, right? Because when it goes and goes and goes and just goes straight up, straight up. I mean, 2020 was unbelievable, By the way, as a public service announcement, if you got friends and family in New Mexico, you might want to check in on them. You know, these places, they're like made out of dirt. That's it. So if you have a torrential rainstorm in a place that's just made out of dirt, you get washed away. A reminder of what's really important in life. Okay. Americans have to use rent payments to qualify for a mortgage. You're like, what does that mean? That means housing can't trade lower because there's really not as much leverage in the system as there was in 2008. And there's no job market mess and no forced selling. So how does anybody afford a house? Well, they count your rent payments as your credit. Right. And that allows you to buy a house at the all-time high. No, thank you. No, thank you. Right. No, thank you. Look at this. It's now to the point where we can actually sit around and look at nothing and think it's cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I probably should call it up here. You know, ETH is so freaking boring, but this could be really interesting. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a diamond. And let me tell you something about diamonds. They're one of the few diagonal formations in crypto that actually work. Actually work, right? Because when you break out, which maybe it happened today, maybe, right? You move, the movement off the diamond is the distance between the 2 points from the point of the breakout, which is 3,600. So I'm telling you, everybody is underestimating what can happen in crypto week for ETH because the orange man owns ETH. There's no strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's the World Liberty ETH reserve. Right? I mean, has anything happened that's not in his interest? What did they sell you? Books. Melania had a book. Books, audiobooks, watches, sneakers, trading cards, glasses. Comment if I missed anything. NFTs. Right? Cologne. Get it while it's hot. They sold you. Oh, don't forget the meme coin. They sold you everything that they could sell you. Probably because they knew they were going to have to make the special interest happy. And then in 6 months, the whole thing was going to be over. And he was going to go play golf. You know, Barack did something similar, right? They got the healthcare bill done, and that was it. They got the big bill. Okay, we're done. That's it. That's it. hopefully. And maybe we get Bitcoin later. But you know what I think? It's actually not what I think. It's probably what Toby thinks. But, you know, ETH is way undervalued. Duh. And if sovereigns actually do the strategic Bitcoin reserve, you know, at 77, I couldn't touch it. At 108, it's too expensive. But at 250 at the end of the year or 300 next year, it'll be much more attractive because I'll be using it to back my treasury bonds, because if no one's going to buy my bonds unless I give them a little bit of Bitcoin as interest. So again, I don't want it at 100, but I know at 300K, it'll be much more attractive next year. And that's par for the course with sovereigns, right? The sovereigns will buy your bags at the top. Oh, that's right. Grandpa Keeter said, yeah, you got dinners. So you had the NFTs and then go to dinner, right? Pag Voop says I was sold a parade gold card for immigration, right? Mojo is enjoying the show. I appreciate that. By the way, for $4.99 in the YouTube member area, there's like a little dollar sign at the bottom of the chat. You can actually get yourself one of those little cool emojis if you want to say hello on the stream. You know, I understand. And, you know, if you want to go for the $9, the $9 like summer reading spectacular, like you can go see the Superman movie, which I understand is political, because the you know, what we really need in life is a political superhero movie, or hackers versus hedge funds. Yeah, baby. Yeah. That's exactly what we want. Exactly. Okay. Let's go to something that matters more and more every day. This is the John McAfee TikTok page, where we have historical videos from the man himself, except they're from 2018. So back in 2018, Mr. McAfee was talking about these files everyone's all wound up about. He was talking about three-letter agencies taking people out to the woodshed because they didn't agree with what they're saying. And make no mistake about it, they're still doing that, right? If you say the wrong thing about a particular group, say the wrong thing. Say it on a college campus, say it wherever. You're out of here, man. You're done. That is not tolerated. That's not. McAfee knew these things way back when. And a new script for AI McAfee is coming out on that new crypto bro party that everyone's going to get all enamored with. The AI agent talks on YouTube at AIntivirus Podcast. You might want to go check it out. You know why? Because the guy was right about everything. And there's an associated meme coin with all kinds of privacy function attached to it. Gift cards, mixers. You really, and they're allowing that because they dropped the Tornado Cash case. They're allowing it. They're allowing transactional privacy, transactional freedom to their credit. To their credit. Because they got the low-hanging fruit, right? But what's going to happen when everyone realizes that you got to make yourself great again? You got to protect yourself. Because one thing that I hear about all the time on the YouTube member podcast uses one key word: control. Right? Right? Welcome the new Degen, and Bill helps you get busy instead. Stefan, I appreciate that. If that's a request for Degen, then let me make sure I get that on the screen, because there is a lot of GAN work that talks about new forms of communication. That's actually, a couple guys are saying that. You know, when assuming there's no market mess, decentralized Twitter is of interest to me. Because you know what? It would scare me if Elon has control of the White House via a puppet president and he has control of Twitter. Not a big fan. You want to know why the AIntivirus Podcast is on YouTube? Because they shut off the Twitter. Now, the good news is McAfee has 1 million Twitter followers, so I'm not losing sleep over it. But I ask you this, at what point do we push back? When do we push back? I'm kind of hoping now. Now would be a good time. Okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Let's get real about this, shall we? Okay, so this is Bitcoin dominance. And there was support here, but there isn't anymore. And there's a LuxAlgo sell signal. It's not the strongest sell signal in the world, but the last time you got a sell signal like this, Bitcoin dominance fell apart. The next uptrade, I think the next uptrade won't be Bitcoin. And are you ready for this? If there's a down move, which platinum members are ready for, if there's a down move, it could be in Bitcoin. Because if everyone's too short the dollar and everyone's too long Bitcoin, Michael Saylor said he had to stop buying because I don't think the dealers have the inventory to sell to him. There's no volume in the market. So what may they have to do? They may have to try to force it down. This is what they do all the time, right? Market goes down. Michael Saylor buys on the way down, and then the dealers cover and get their Bitcoin back. So if there's a shock with the crypto week, dealers are going to hit the market. That's for sure, because Michael Saylor wants to buy. Okay, so Bitcoin is stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't figure out what's up here. The premium zone is at 112, and support, the bottom of support's 105. So it's either watching paint dry. I'm going to tell you right now, I really do not want to see a break of 105. You could see 103, or you could see a wick to 102. They did the same thing on this Gann line back here, right? When they wicked it to 100. They went down to this Gann line, which now is at 102, 103 and a half, and they wicked it. SJ says, DeFi, time to shine, dude. Dude, when are we going to figure out this system, right? I talk about it all the time. Cannot get the Gann model off Uniswap. I can't. I cannot. TAO, right? And again, you know, we're getting bored to tears on this. And again, this is the problem with a lot of altcoins. Because I had to shut up because when we had the geopolitical event, LuxAlgo put a ceiling on this thing. And I'm like, they're going to get through the ceiling. Or they're going to get through the ceiling, and then I'm going to buy the next dip, and then it's going to be off to the races. They can't get through the ceiling. This is so annoying, right? There's support underneath it. The market needs a catalyst. It needs a catalyst, right? There's not many things more rebellious than Bitcoin Cash. And part of me wonders whether or not one of the easiest things for them to do during crypto week is pardon Roger Ver. Because I'm telling you, right, there is a reason why this is going up and why this chart looks so good. There has to be a reason. I find people's lack of curiosity about it, I don't know, kind of silly. It's ignoring topping signals. It's consolidating on top of this accumulation wedge. I mean, you got a lot of room to go up here. You got 30% till the premium zone. There have been one coin markets. We've seen that where it's one coin markets. T-Bone in the house. Welcome, sir. By the way, we are trying to get 200 likes on a stream. So I would encourage you, whether you're on your phone or not, to somehow do whatever it is you have to do to hit that like button, because we are trying to get to 200 likes. And I am competing in this particular time slot with some of the biggest guys out there. So I need everybody to help out, please. Okay. You know, it's almost You're almost like bored to tears. With all this news about takeovers, with all this news about like Robinhood is like, we're going to do the tokenized OpenAI stock, which has nothing to do with OpenAI stock. We're so desperate to get like real world assets going that we're creating like an OpenAI de facto meme coin. What happens when somebody comes in and does it for real? And again, if they were going to make that announcement, Crypto Week would be the week to make the announcement. Maybe what comes, this is why I'm saying, hey, that's why the title's like, hey, altcoin Solana, dude, 65% to the 200-week moving average in DeFi Perp. I mean, this thing is like close to its discount zone. It looks like it's just, like nobody cares. Meanwhile, the catalysts are there. And I understand the news is positive for Bitcoin, and we all know Bitcoin is going higher. But what's the surprise trade? Is there a surprise trade? Right? GG, Akash breaking out. Another. Pretty sure this is a YouTube member area coin, Akash. Dude. Somewhere in here, there's an altcoin move. Somewhere. And even if there isn't an overall altcoin move, the crypto summit does allow for a sector breakout, which is why you want to tune in to the YouTube member area so that Toby can give you the buckets. That's what she calls it. In equities, it's called sector analysis. And this looks like a head and shoulders with an upward sloping neckline, which could lead to a very chunky breakout if you did something like this. Again, they got resistance here that they got to take out. But I mean, this coin was at $1.26 in June. Right now, it's at $1.07. I mean, I can show you the chart. In May, it was at $1.89. I mean, are we giving up on DPIN, on AI? Are we giving up on these whole sectors? Apparently so. Like all the news is about what Web 2 is doing. Wait until we start taking people over. I'm kind of interested if these projects can like merge or these projects can go public, right? I mean, there's no limit to the appetite in equities for stuff like this. Somebody's going to raise money doing it. And if not, someone's going to come in and buy the governance tokens of, say, these DeFi projects. I know I say this all the time, but like one day, I mean, Aave, like this looks like an uptrend. It's slow, but it's still an uptrend, right? You got Aave in support for 5 minutes. Then the next big rally, LuxAlgo is going to turn and go bullish, right? Like World Liberty is advertised as a DeFi project. So the orange man is not there to moon your bags, obviously. He's here to moon his bags. Because again, the optics of the last 48 hours. I mean, oh my God. It's so horrible, right? Now, SYRUP has been off to the races, right? SYRUP is at its premium zone. It doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just gone up a lot. Actually, take that back. Well, if you this wild print kind of distorts it, but technically the premium zone in SYRUP is up at $1. It's currently at 50 cents, right? Toby picked Clearpool on a day when she picked a bunch of real world asset and DeFi coins. And God, these things have done absolutely nothing. Nothing. And again, if you were BlackRock, If you were the PR department at BlackRock, right, and you wanted to make an announcement, well, you would make an announcement when the national media is pointing towards, crypto everything day, because God, I mean, they need a distraction. I mean, I know I came out with, we've been rugged and all that stuff. Look, they need a distraction because the optics of this last week, oh my God, the optics it's so horrible. I mean, I don't even know how you explain it. I don't. Right? 4-hour chart of SYRUP. Somebody requesting it. Again, if you want priority on comments, we got $4.99 button for that. You get yourself an emoji so the Eagle King can spot you out on comments. I don't know, man. You have a 200 period moving average in SYRUP, and it's at its equilibrium zone on a 4-hour chart. I don't understand. I mean, I do, because you haven't been paid to pay attention, right? You haven't been paid to pay attention. But headed into crypto week, we're all focused on the same thing. So on one hand, we're distracted by politics. We're distracted by a law enforcement issue. What we should be focused on is, are we going to get what we were promised based on what's been currently happening? Probably not. But could we get something that benefits the people in power? Even if we don't, it's time to push back. It's time to push back. I'm tired of this. Okay, Solana. And the good news is it's going to be much easier for people to push back, because the one thing people are saying is, ha, 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 are you tired of winning? There's all this, you fell for it again. So if you feel like I fell for it again, great. We got this, we got antivirus, and we got Solana, which is what's on here, right? There's that. Or remember how I always talk about the handles on cup and handles being absolutely annoying AF? Does this qualify as annoying AF to you? Well, it certainly does to me. Right? This is the cup and handle formation. I have no idea. I mean, if you look at Solana, you have stable coins, you have memes, and you have DPIN all running on Solana. I'm Patreon Platinum has got DPIN reports out the wazoo. And Sixth Street Crypto has got a list of American-made cryptos that we like, that, the GAN model really likes. So Solana being one, I'll tell you right now. But there's other stuff in there. Isn't it time? It's time, right? Big Rich, Solana looks cheap. Dude, Big Rich with the banana zone stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Bitcoin has a slow summer, if Bitcoin is maxed out, if Bitcoin dominance tops, well, that leaves two things. One, a wick down in Bitcoin off some weirdo event. That could happen, especially after crypto week, right? You have your crypto week, and then somebody outside, some bad actor comes in and ruins crypto week after it. We've seen that. We had nonsense happening after the big, beautiful bill. So you never know. You never know. And then, of course, there's the happy scenario where everybody just goes, you know what? I'm so over this. I'm so enthusiastic about Solana. I'm so enthusiastic about AI. Everyone is all bearish AI. They're all selling over there outside of NVIDIA. There is something else to do in AI. A decentralized version. Because when you find out what this hedge fund does with an AI-based model, and how many hacker superheroes it takes to take them down, you're going to go, you know what? I don't need to know everything about crypto, but I'm going to read this book and I'm going to go hit the green button. Right? I'm going to hit the green button. Because if you're upset about whatever's going on TV and whatever Alex and Nick and, Glenn and all these guys are talking about, great. You're upset. You're angry. Good. It's not going right. Good. They lied to you. Good. Good. You can watch a John McAfee video from, 6 years ago, or you can get some of that. And then you just pick up your phone and go, oh, wow, watch this. Watch me vent my anger. Oh, this is fun. This is like working out, getting a pump. Okay, that is the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, wait. Oh, no. We got Dusk. Oh, Dusk on the daily chart. I saw this on... Yeah, you know what? I saw this on Lunar Crush. Lunar Crush, there were mentions of Dusk. Private layer 1 network for stock trading, I think. Let me check the website. Want to make sure we get taken care of all our requests, Pagavoop, a new name. Sir, welcome to the show. Yeah, man. LuxAlgo putting support underneath it. Again, there are these resistance shelves here. But there were people talking about this on social media today, obviously with the rally, right? Compliant, friendly, regulated, decentralized finance. Dude. If Wall Street has got... This is the bullish thing. You might get rugged on the strategic reserve, but you may get Wall Street making an announcement, because if Wall Street was ever going to do it, they got to do it when the media is totally focused on crypto week. So the orange man could say, oh yeah, I see all this cool stuff that everyone's doing because I brought crypto in. The optics of that are pretty good. I mean, the optics of anything would be better than what they got going on now, to be honest. All right, we are ramping up here with some overtime. Altcoin overtime returns on the fly. Fartcoin. Fartcoin and Moonpig in the house. Okay, let's do Fartcoin. Again, this is like what they're talking about in the Solana universe on Lunar Crush. Zero affiliation there. That's just, the Eagle King, getting me into that. Okay, so my opinion on Fartcoin is still my opinion on Fartcoin. You have algos that ramp this thing and get everyone excited, and then they drop it on your head. Now, that said, it looks like on the Williams oscillator, you're headed for a big move. So you have to acknowledge that, maybe. I tend to not like these diagonal formations. Sometimes I think they resolve themselves to the downside. But the market has no interest in trading anything outside of AI. Like, look at this is the Solana universe on Lunar Crush. I think this is what mentions. Yeah. Okay. So Bonk, because Bonk is taking over for Pump.fun. Fartcoin, Trump, Solana. Meanwhile, Render, no one's talking about Render, Jupiter, Quad. Pangu, Giga, and SPX are doing better than some of this stuff down here. We're so bored, it's Fartcoin and Dog. That's how bored we are. But, Bonk, I'm pretty sure the GAN model picked Bonk. Bonk could have been in the Solana 7. There's the thing we have, the Solana 7 in the store. We have it in the store, and we have it in Patreon Platinum. Bonk. How funny, right? A boomer coin is back, right? Is back. Okay, Big Rich wanting to look at Arrow. You know, dude, it's not a bad trade. Just conceptually, right? Dude, tons of LuxAlgo support here. LuxAlgo flipped negative, but there's a lot of support down here. So selling things into support has not worked, and buying them into resistance has not worked. Has not worked. Share screen. Sorry. Okay, Arrow, selling into support. That has not worked. It has not worked. Okay, so virtuals. Again, virtuals has the same problem that Tau has, right? We got to get this going. We need a catalyst. DeFi and RWA may be the best places to get catalysts. I mean, I swear to God, if they don't do something during crypto week outside of making it all legal and no CBDC, I mean, if that's what they get done in a week on crypto week and announced Lollapalooza for crypto, are you over it? I'm over it. I'm over it. Boy, oh boy, you got a lot of upside in Ondo. LuxAlgo coming in buying it yesterday. You got a lot of upside in Ondo. God. Again, BlackRock and the whole announcement thing during crypto week. It would not shock me to see a huge rotation out of Bitcoin and into some of these other cryptos. That would not shock me, right? Not shock me 100%. BTC cup and handle testing the neckline. Steve J always has fun with those higher time frame charts. Of course, it also goes without saying that, you know, this thing ever really did break out, it would just be gone. Now, I was having fun with some silly TA. So if we're going to do altcoin overtime, this is when I was thinking that it may be time for alts and ETH. I did this like mirroring thing, if I can find it. So here is January, right? Orange Man meme coin. And here is February, the tariff apocalypse. You cut it out. And then you mirror it and stick it on here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the mirror opposite. So I was kind of wondering, I was like, well, I don't know. If this doesn't work, it's going to explode. Or if it does work, it's ETH. If a top in Bitcoin is ETH, just for your afternoon and evening trivia. Okay, SJ, Stephen Jeske, welcome. New names to the new names, to the customers, to the book club. That is it for the market update. We will see you tomorrow.